Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. My name is Jimmy Good, and I'm your host. And joining me this week is my go-to podcast compadre. That isn't Joe. It's Levi Fletcher. Levi, how you doing, pal?
Hey.
Thank you for stopping. Yeah, there we go. I was like, I don't know why it's not picking your beautiful face up. There you are. Thank you so much for joining me this week. And to our Legionnaires, thank you so much. If you are new to the show, we talk games, movies, TV shows, and all that stuff. It's weird because usually when Joe's here, I have like another minute of just talking here, but we just got right into it, which I like. This is going to be a compact show. And we shot a little bit earlier this week because I'm going to be out for the rest of the week, but we'll talk about that later. But let's get to some news. First and foremost, I know that I saw Black Panther again last week, and apparently Black Panther just crossed over into something huge, over $600 million here domestically, which apparently is not done very frequently. It's one of 7 films to have made that much money, and that's in the North American box office. And it's held its place for 5 weeks in a row at the top spot, which is pretty nuts. I think a lot of that has to do with timing, kind of putting it in between all these other big films. But the last one to do something like that was Avatar. Well, Levi, you're a pretty big Black Panther fan. Are you surprised by this news at all?
Nope, I've already seen it 3 times in theaters.
3 times? How many? Okay, you just wanted to keep going back?
It's just a really great film, and I just wanted to keep watching it.
Yeah.
Took different people each time because I wanted to see it with different people. But you and I went with my partner, and then yeah.
Did you feel like seeing it multiple times, did it give you more of an appreciation? Were there some scenes where you're like, oh, I don't want to watch this again, or maybe you're like, oh, I can't wait for this scene to happen again?
I mean, I feel like everybody's got the same qualm with Black Panther. It drags just a tiny bit in the middle part, but I mean drags for a Marvel film like this is like very, very slight. You get right back into the action again, but no, not surprised. You just pick up on a few other things, but what a great film.
Yeah, definitely. Well, seeing it a second time, and we're not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. We've discussed it plenty, and we've done a review and all of that. But seeing it a second time, it doesn't have the same, punch because I know what's coming. But it's still such a pleasure. I love watching the characters interact with one another, and it just feels so organic and so well cast, and it doesn't feel forced like any time in the film, which I think is pretty impressive for an origin film, when a lot of times they feel like they kind of force to be like, oh yeah, they've known each other for years. In this film, it feels like they all have, like it seems like their chemistry was so good. It's like, I can buy that is, T'Challa's sister or the general, the Dora Milaje. I'm like, yeah, I get that, so I think it's well-deserved. I'm excited to see him again in Infinity War. But man, it made $27 million, this past weekend, apparently, which kept it at number 1. Man, that's impressive. Apparently, says no other superhero film has remained atop the box office for 5 or more weeks. Only that was Titanic, Avatar, and The Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense, there we go. Done that in the last 20 years, which is pretty crazy. Sixth Sense? Wow.
I'm really glad that it's, getting in its moment now, because we all know next month around this time.
Yep.
Infinity War is going to be dominating. It's going to shatter. I'm calling it out. It's going to beat Avatar. It's going to do it.
I think
we know it's going to do it.
Yeah, so I think with that, the only issue we're going to have here is it's going to go up against things eventually like Deadpool and then Solo a little bit, and then it might still go close to maybe Ant-Man and the Wasp as far as like going from, it's April to July, so that's a couple of months. But that's the thing with Avatar, it did really well internationally too. I think you're right. I think Avengers is going to kill it here in the States. I think it's going to shatter records, and then I think it's going to go on and for just weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and we'll get stories like Black Panther here where they'll say, oh my gosh, guys, they just crossed another threshold, like it's in its own league. But it's been building up for 10 years. It's hard to have other films kind of stack up against that.
I think Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to get the same kind of off-title treatment that we've seen for Doctor Strange, and not that it's underwhelming, but it's more of a lukewarm reception. People don't make as big of a deal as these one-off stories. So
yeah, well, it's weird because I went to see Black Panther again with my buddy Gene, and he was giddy when the Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer came out. He's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I love this. He loved this so much. I was like, you love Ant-Man. Like, I know you love Doctor Strange, and that's one of my favorite things is like that Marvel, like all these characters, like you know, you can love that character or love that movie like a ton, and I'm just like, I like it, but it wasn't like my favorite. And he loves Ant-Man. I'm like, I like it, but it's not my favorite. But I love like Captain America. You might like him, but he's not your favorite. And that's one of the coolest things about this franchise. And one thing I wanted to bring up here too, I just got back from Chicago, and like the thing about Marvel, you know, we talked about this a few weeks ago about why we love these movies, but one thing I think is really interesting is that no matter where I went, I could talk to anybody about like Marvel films, especially like Black Panther, and it like brought people, like it brought me closer to these people. It was really interesting because like I could listen to them talk about these movies. It's kind of like a segue into talking about entertainment. Like everybody's got a thought or a feeling on Marvel films, and I really just love talking to them about it and hearing like a lot of opinions. But most everybody I talked to didn't matter race, gender, anything. Everyone's like, yeah, Black Panther was so cool. Like people who'd never seen a Marvel film before, some people who'd seen every Marvel film, they're like, I loved it. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, all right.
Yeah, so I can tell like right now in our household, we're rewatching all of the films start to finish. So my partner can catch up. I mean, he's not very good with, hero games or hero movies, but he's catching on, and I can tell which films as we go are better suited for his taste in movies. He loves dumb comedy, and he loves, more simple stories like that. So Guardians of the Galaxy went over great last night.
Yep.
For a movie like, I'm trying to think of what was a challenge recently.
Like Winter Soldier, maybe?
No, we haven't gotten there yet. No, we finished Iron Man 1, 2, 3, Avengers, Guardians, and now we have to watch Thor 2, Winter Soldier, Guardians 2, and then Ultron. So
okay. So has he not watched Thor Ragnarok yet? I thought he saw that.
Yep.
Did you like that one?
Yep, he did like that one a lot. Yep.
I think it sounds like for him, like the cosmic ones have been kind of more humorous too. So maybe that's going forward, like it's gonna both the Guardians and Thor.
Funny. You'd think those would be more serious, but they're actually a little bit more lighthearted because they probably wanted to break that in a little bit more, lightly. Yeah,
well, I think it also plays off a little bit better because you have Disney's other gigantic space franchise, Star Wars, which usually takes itself really seriously most of the time. So it's like to kind of offset that, they're like, hey, this is going to be goofy and weird space as opposed to like serious worlds-ending kind of death machines. So maybe that's why. I don't know, but I'm interested to hear what he thinks about like Winter Soldier. I think is one of the ones that people like to put near the top because that one's got a lot of like intrigue and it's pretty serious and there's a few jokes, but it's relatively like kind of not the happiest film. But I remember seeing that with you in theaters, man. I remember seeing the ending credits for that one and just sitting there. I'm like, yeah, that was pretty good. Like I think we saw it twice. So I was like, it's pretty good movie.
I will have to say to all our viewers, if you're looking for a little bit of a recap of Thanos, a little bit of a snippet of really what's to come, rewatch Guardians. Definitely a good movie to watch right before this film. Talks about the Infinity Stones. Gamora talks a lot about Thanos. You hear Thanos talk. Thanos is there. And I realized that rewatching it last night, I was like, wow, I don't remember this much being in it of what's to come. But
yeah, definitely that. And I don't know if you mean the very first Guardians, not so much Guardians 2.
Yeah. No. Because they go to the Collector. No spoilers. I mean, if you haven't seen it by now.
Exactly. Yeah.
The Collector talks about the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, okay. That's actually a pretty good point because, that's the first time that they really acknowledge kind of all of the stones together because you kind of see bits and pieces of them in other things. Like Avengers has 2 stones in there and they don't really talk about the Tesseract a lot. They don't talk about the Mind Stone very much. But yeah, that's the first one. They're like, hey, here's all of them. And, the Collector, even after, I think Thor the Dark World, he says like 1 down, 4 to go, or 4 to go, or 2 down, 3 to go, or something like that. Like he's trying to amass them himself. It's like, whoa, okay. That's probably a good call out, man. Check that out. I know, by the way, there is a new Avengers Infinity War trailer out. I think it came out last week. People are like, Jimmy, you should watch it. Levi, you were one of the people like, you should film your reactions. I'm not gonna do it. I can't. I know. Check it out, please. I'm sure it's amazing. I'm sure I would scream and hoot and holler and blood would come out of my mouth. But I'm going to try to save as much of that for the theater as I possibly can. We got tickets. I talked to Levi the other night. We had a moment like we both thought it at the same time. And I messaged him. I'm like, hey, man, like Infinity War, you in? He's like, yes. And I'm like, all right, good. Because I'm going to be 10/15, April 26th, baby. Oh, my goodness. I can't wait. I'm going to rush home and write that review. I don't need like maybe an hour just to like calm down. I'll just be hyperventilating. I'll be like, Levi, help me. And you'll be like, all right, dude, just calm yourself. I might stand up and clap. Who knows?
It's hard not to be excited for 10 years worth of films building up to this point. It's great.
Yeah, but I'm going to try to do my best to stay objective. I feel like I need to have like an objective real score and then like the fanboy score, which is like, like an objective over here and then it's like 12 out of 10 over here, Like, I'm just like, it's too good. But we'll see. Maybe it'll be horrible. Who knows? Either way, it's going to make just a ton of money. It's going to make a ton of money.
Yeah.
Speaking of games that didn't necessarily make a ton of money, or maybe it did at the time, The Division. It came out last week that apparently that they're making a sequel to The Division. Levi, please tell us your long storied history with that franchise.
Oh, I remember this being such a great launch title for like them talking about this being a great launch title for the Xbox One. Everybody was so excited about that. Xbox One came out. We didn't get The Division. They said they needed more time with it. If anybody goes back and watches that E3 trailer, it is one of the best E3 trailers they have ever shown for a game. You've got this cool RPG setup. You've got these skills that you're looking at. People are controlling devices with tablets. Like they're really hyped that up to a freaking 10, and it did not deliver at all. What we got was like a half-baked Watch Dogs meets Destiny, crappy RPG, put in a blender, put in a shotgun, shot against the wall, and then you got like 2 hours of gameplay out of that. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, you make first off a really good point about the E3 demo thing or the ending thing where they'd show up, because for a few years there, Ubisoft would kind of just For Honor did the same thing. Watch Dogs did the same thing where like at the end, they always like a stinger and they're like, hey, here's a new game that's coming eventually. And yeah, seeing the map, like they're kind of using their little arm wrists and you're like looking at like a 3D map, and it was like so cool. And like he's in the firefight and he's by the cop cars and he like shuts a door on the cop car when he moves past it. It's like very like Uncharted like, where you're like, oh, he's interacting with the environment
everywhere. Like
yeah. And it's like the game was fine. I played it, like you played the beta only, correct?
Yeah. I played the demo. Was that what we got? We got something for free to play.
Yeah, or something like that.
When it finally came out, yeah.
I remember, so I played through that game with Joe, and I think our buddy Drew at the time, and he's still our buddy, by the way. And we thought it was fine. It gets really weird, and one of the biggest kind of criticisms is, you said it was like an RPG. It did have this kind of weird vibe where it was like supposed to be realistic, but then there'd be like a dude in a hoodie with a baseball bat and you'd shoot him like 12 times in the face and he wouldn't go down. It's just like a Borderlands problem, where it's like you shoot it and you're like, what the heck? And that kind of just takes you out of that moment there. But apparently it did well enough to warrant a sequel. One of the things I wanted to talk about just a little bit here today is, what do we want in a Division 2? Now for you, Levi, like what is it that you'd have to see to get you back in? Is it like a new setting? Is it something that's more compelling gameplay wise? What would it be for you? What does Ubisoft have to do?
I'm not so against the, RPG elements where it's like Borderlands and you shoot them a couple of times in the face. It's fine. We've got that on Destiny. We've been through it before. I just want some solid gameplay. I just want some real hype and actual real follow through from whatever you do hype. Don't loot box it, because people already knows what happens if you loot box it. The gaming community has been very vocal about that. Just some solid gameplay. Yeah.
I think the problem we have though is we look at something like Destiny 2 that I would argue has solid gameplay, but it's not addicting enough. Where like Monster Hunter has been so addicting for me to keep playing so frequently. I think that's the thing they have to do. They have to find a way to make the moment-to-moment things really impactful, and also like give you little things to do all the time, because that's Monster Hunter always does that. It's kind of like, oh, there's a new weapon you're trying to build towards. Like you have to go out and do this. Like hopefully they would have something a little more like that, because I don't remember the Division doing that as well. I remember hoping I'd like, storm an area and like find like a weapons case and open it up and find a really cool gun. And that maybe happened a few times, but I don't recall it being something that happened all the time. Mm-hmm. And then the end game was really boring, because like in Destiny and Division, the end game is like, you're going to do the dark zone, or in Destiny, it's like you're going to grind these raids or whatever to get what you want. But in Monster Hunter, I'm just doing still a bunch of everything. That's the one that's nice. I'm not bored because there's so many things to do. And I would love Division to have more of that, like that's what I'm kind of hoping they do. I'm sure a battle royale mode is in the works for Division. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see that. I'm still waiting for Ghost Recon Wildlands to have that. But I don't know. Yeah. Cause I feel like solid gameplay won't be enough. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, you need something like, and this is why WoW is so successful. Is people, low level characters look at high level characters and they go, I want that. I want to look like that character. That character has T4 paladin armor. I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna build up to that and I'm gonna get it. And the journey, that's how you start the journey, and that's what's so great about these games like Monster Hunter. And they had that for Destiny, but nobody wants the same wrist plate that looks the same for everybody. And just the way to get it, the dailies didn't do justice of making you want to keep playing the game. Got to give something to do. Got to give like actual dailies like they do for, and I say dailies because all of our WoW fans know exactly what that is. It's something that they give you to do each day that you can complete and keep doing and doing. Monster Hunter does it differently. They give you investigations. They give you different things to do. And
yeah, well, they give you like the weekly things to do, which are
fun. They're fun weekly things. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's nothing like too crazy. It'll be like hunt 5 great joggers, and you're like, okay. You're like, and they're like 5.
I'm in my sleep now.
Yeah, exactly. Kill like 5 like elder dragons. You're like, I was gonna do that anyway. Cool. Like you're giving me stuff for doing, and it's nice because when you get back to base, it's like, hey, you finished this thing, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. It's like, well, the botanical research is ready. You have some resource center stuff that's ready. The Argosy is returned. Your Tail Raiders have returned. You're like, it's a lot. It's not that bad.
Re-rolling for that reason, just because I spent a lot of time getting carried by you and Joe because you guys were already a little bit ahead of us. So I breezed through Anjanath. I breezed through a lot of these places. So I kind of want to start a new character and really just do it solo and really do the grind.
You're nuts. It took us forever to play Anjanath together. Remember the 4 of us had to do that together.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. Once we took it down, we're like,
yep.
Yes.
Once you're through it, and then it's just,
go back and fight the tempered one. We fought the tempered one last night, which wasn't too
it wasn't that bad. I mean, I feel like, I don't know. We'll see. I want to keep doing tempered monsters, but at the same time, I think I want to re-roll and just start fresh.
How about you just start and just grab like a new weapon and just pick the very first weapon that you can get from the tree and then do it. You'll have all the health and defense, but it take forever to fight with. There's like an iron katana. You're just like,
I can do that too.
Yeah.
See, that's the beauty of it. Like you can do so many things with this game, and it's always fresh and new.
I think that's another thing that we need to talk about here. The fact that in Monster Hunter specifically, because a lot of things are gonna get compared to Monster Hunter moving forward because it's kind of set the new platinum standard, as I would call it. It's above gold. It's like the new. This is how you should try to kind of incentivize your players. One of the things they do is that you as a character get stronger and cooler armor and all that, but your weapons you can change them out at any time, and you're not like committed to a tree. Like your armor and some of the gems and other charms and stuff you put on will lend or aid themselves, better to certain weapon types. But at any time you can change that up. It does cost money and stuff, and it costs like resources, but the stuff's never too steep. Like it does take a little while, but you can accrue money pretty quickly in that game and resources from like certain monsters with relative ease. So it's not that big of a deal. Whereas in like these games, you kind of like you commit to like a certain tree, which is not always a bad thing. But if you're playing by yourself, it's hard to like move into another tree. I don't remember if you could move out of a tree in Division or if you could choose from everything. It was not the best. Their skill.
I know there was like healing, there was a medic, and there was different.
Yeah.
It wasn't play enough to really get into it to care, but
you made a great point though, man. Like about like Warcraft is like you look at a paladin, you're like, man, I want that T4 paladin armor. And this game is like, oh, you got like a sweet beanie, man. How long do you have to grind for that? And it's like, oh, it's the best stats on this beanie. It's like like I know that's a hard thing to make cool, like modern gear look cooler and cooler, but make my guy look like he has like tac gear, like tactical gear, like the SWAT agents or something, right? Like,
and the guy on the receiving end of that was like, oh, what about that beanie? You just hear like a click, and then the Monster Hunter intro music start up again.
He's like, I'm not playing this anymore. I think that's another thing that would really excite me is if they had a more interesting like want to like get more armor. For me, I want that. I want the want. I want to be like, oh, cool, you look so sick, or that looks like such cool armor. Because like right now, I'm trying to get full earplugs in Monster Hunter World, which makes that like anytime a monster roars that it doesn't affect me anymore, so I don't get like it hurts. I'm like, I just can fight.
I'm gonna start running the hunting horn. Don't do it anymore. I got your earplugs free, baby.
You're killing me. I want that.
We're gonna stack you with some more damage, and
I need all the damage, because I run a hammer and a sword and a long sword. I need all the damage. But yeah, I would love Division to do that. I also wouldn't be surprised or hurt if they changed location, because this was like kind of
New
like a
York.
Horizon Zero Dawn, where it's like post apocalypse. So it's
Yeah.
like, do you go to other locations? Is it out of a completely different city? Is it like, could you go to a tropical locale and then go to an Arctic locale and then go to like, you know, a desert locale or something? I
Wasn't
know
this
it'd be kind of
based out
weird.
of Boston or something, or New
This
York
one
or
was
something
based
like
out of
that?
New York. New York,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
And that's
Uh,
done. That's been done. Let's do something different.
yeah, it just was like it was such a lifeless world. That was the thing. It was like, I remember seeing it for the first time thinking, wow, it's so detailed and cool. But then it's just like, you can't, they're like, oh, you're gonna have to trade for water and stuff because that's like the currency in this game. And I was like, whoa, that's kind of weird and different, cool. And then it was like, no, you don't have to do that. Like, I don't, you don't have to. It's like, oh, okay. Not that I need like a survival game built into it, but it was trying to base itself around that. And yeah, I just don't know if the RPG stuff works as well. I'd almost rather have them give me like 2 or 3 times the amount of enemies and have bullets actually feel like bullets, as opposed to fighting like 2 guys who are just like walking tanks, so I'm just like shooting in the face for like 45 minutes. Like, but that's just a personal thing for me. People like Borderlands, you know, obviously those games are popular, so I'm sure they're trying to kind of strike in on that. Would you like them to change it to that, or do you like the RPG elements, like, you know, shooting a dude a ton? Do you like that, like the bullet spongy thing?
Yeah, that's fine, because I mean, you shouldn't be able to two-shot everything.
Yeah.
Um,
I think Destiny does a pretty good job of it, where like, I wish I could use my shotgun more, but because it's a power weapon, whenever I like would bust it out, I was like, wow, this feels like I'm doing a lot of damage, you know, like, so you would 2-shot certain things or 1-shot things, and that felt really good. So maybe that was it. Maybe just make the guns like a little more powerful in the end game, so you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Also, the Dark Zone, fun on paper, kind of going in and fighting like, you know, special mobs and like fighting other players and stealing their stuff and all that. But just such a heartbreaking thing when it just like the griefing and just like, like, you know, having to deal with people going rogue all the time. And it was fun for a little bit, but wasn't anything that I was like, oh, this is so cool, I really want to keep coming back to this. It was just really stressful, and that was like the end game for that game for the most part. Like, so it's kind of weird. I know it had a resurgence recently and they added some other things, so I haven't really played Division for a while. But in a sequel, I'd like to see something different. I'd almost just get rid of the Dark Zone, Levi. What do you think? Do you want to keep that around?
No, yeah, get rid of it. You can do better, Ubisoft. You can do better.
You can do Ubisoft. You heard it. You heard it here. You can do better. But again, I'm sure they'll do a battle royale mode instead. They'll just be like, yeah, it's battle royale. Another thing I would like, you know, besides just different locales, I'd like to be able to go in more of the buildings. I know it sounds like a stupid and weird request, but sometimes when you're in these big cities, like, you can't go in any building ever. I keep thinking like, yeah, you don't have to give me every floor of every building, but like, we're getting to a point where you could at least do a couple, you know, like, let me go in and do something. You know, as opposed to just like climbing up the side on a ladder. But yeah, I'm hopeful for the Division 2. I'm not completely like sold on the concept yet. I had an okay time. If I had to rate the first Division, I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10. There was some fun to be had. Again, a lot of it was because I was working with my friends and we were kind of coordinating and had different abilities. And some of the skills are cool, like the little remote mine thing you place on the ground. And it actually wasn't like remote, it just like seek to someone and then go blow up. That was really cool. And the different turrets were kind of fun. But yeah, I think it could be better.
The tablet thing though just never panned out. I don't know why they would shoot for something so high.
Yeah,
so early in the tech of that.
Yeah, it was a nice try, and I liked the recreating the moments with like in 3D. That was kind of cool. Like, you'd see like people, like little pixels of people, and like, oh, people are trying to get on the subway, or people are trying to get out of this house or whatever. That was interesting. But yeah, I think I'd rather have it be a little more like a little maybe more Splinter Cell-ish, you know, where it's kind of like more focused, not necessarily on stealth, but like stealth plus combat, as opposed to just like having to get into a firefight and just constantly shoot something, like, or someone. That would just be, I don't know, it'd just be a little bit different, and just give players more options, give them more terrain to work with. Maybe have people like specialize into sniper rifles. Like, if you're gonna make people specialize, like, have them be specialized in a cool way. Be like, you're our sniper, but at any time they should be able to go back to base and be like, you know what, I don't want this sniper rifle anymore. I'm taking this assault rifle. And it shouldn't be like all their skills are like, well, you only have skills for sniper. Like, you should be able to change, and because people don't want to be locked into things, you know, they want to be able to shake it up. That's why I think you look at other games like Overwatch, where it's like you can play any class. You know, it's like Team Fortress 2. It's like any class you want to. You don't force people to pick and stay with that. Even Diablo realized that after Diablo 2. They're like, people kind of screw themselves over by putting wrong points into attributes. It's like Diablo 3 is like, you play whatever spells you want, man. You can change them at any time into any element. We don't care. Like, I think that's just more appealing, right?
Yeah,
crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Division 2, is there anything else, Levi, you want to say about the game that you would want? Is there any big thing in particular that you're like, if you put it in there, I'm in?
Loot boxes. Just no loot boxes. Don't do it.
No loot boxes?
I can so see them trying to do it with that kind of game too. Like,
oh, yeah. They'll do it.
All these loot boxes, you might get a better beanie. Like, no! Monster Hunter.
Exactly. Yeah, please. And also if you're going to do loot boxes, which you're going to do, just don't do like, well, it actually makes your damage in the dark zone go up by 10%. It'd be like, no, like they won't do it. Ubisoft usually does a good job of supporting their players. I look at games like Rainbow Six Siege and For Honor, and they're still just like, here's more stuff for you guys. We're happy you're playing the game. I'm like, all right, so I don't expect Ubisoft to do that. Don't break my heart, Ubisoft. You guys have been doing well. Assassin's Creed Origins is a great game. For me, give me a sick grapple hook. Let me grapple up to the top of any building and I'm in. Also, let me change locations. Don't give me a slice of New York. I don't need the entire city or whatever you gave me. That's just too much. There wasn't anything in it. Just be like here, maybe a place like over like maybe it'd also be kind of contiguous, like because you can't be like, oh, we're gonna fly to Russia, but do something like up north in Canada, then maybe down like in the southwest region of the States. Just give me everything. Like I want different locales, man, and I want my guy to look sick. I don't want him to be like a dude in a beanie and like a rain jacket. I want him to be like wearing SWAT gear. Give me the Splinter Cell eye thing. I want to be sneaking around. Let me climb pipes and stuff. Give me the new Splinter Cell. I know Splinter Cell's coming. They rumored it. When Splinter Cell comes out, it'll be different. Anyway, I'm sorry. Division 2, Legionnaires, I want to know what you guys want. If you're excited about this game at all, I just want you to just pause the video and be like, yes, I am excited about this game, or no, I'm not. What could they do to bring you in? Or, are you just like checked out? Like, nah, Division, whatever. Anyway, let's move on. I want to talk about a little movie I saw this week. Well, actually, this past weekend, believe it or not, it's been a couple of days. I saw Tomb Raider. Now, as always with movie discussions here, I'm going to give like a little bit of my thoughts that are spoiler free. Don't worry about it. I promise I won't give away the entire movie right now. But after that, I'm going to flip the old spoiler switch here. Yes, it's invisible. It's right here because I don't want anybody pulling it except for myself. And that's when the spoilers are going to come out. So we're going to start talking about Tomb Raider. So if you want to see Tomb Raider and you don't want any of it spoiled, if you don't want to talk about it at all, the timestamps will help you out. But this will be spoiler free if you're kind of on the fence. So Levi, first off, Tomb Raider. How do you like the old movies? Do you like the old games? Have you ever gotten into Tomb Raider at all, ever?
I've always been like one of those audience peanut gallery fans of Tomb Raider, watching it from a distance, but never really wanting to engage in it. No qualms with it. I just don't think it's ever been for me. I played the demo of one of the first ones for Xbox One, something like that.
Yeah, the definitive edition for Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I mean, it was graphic, and I was very surprised by that. Yeah, I mean, it looks cool. I mean, I heard that it's done a lot better than the first ones, so it's a step in the right direction. Yeah,
well, first off, I'm looking at Tomb Raider Definitive Edition right here. I actually have a physical copy of it, and I'm proud I have it. So yeah, the old games obviously are much different. Lara Croft back in the day, was very 90s, like very crazy, like not even a real person. That's why they got Angelina Jolie to play her in the movies, which were not the best either. But this is definitely way more in line with this new game. Not as graphic because it's PG-13. They could have gotten there, but there was some brutality in this movie, and I keep using that term brutality because it's like there's some moments that are like just pulled right from the game that I was really happy to see were actually in there. And I was like, wow, like they still did that? Like, oh, okay, cool. I'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, the film was actually pretty good. I wasn't sure I was even going to see this thing, let alone review it. But people were like, you should go see that. So video game movies, Levi, we haven't had a ton of great ones in the past. I don't even know what people would consider to be the greatest one. I know some people like Mortal Kombat. I personally like Warcraft. It does kind of fall apart with the humans, but I like the orcs and stuff. But there haven't been a lot of great video game movies. I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed. Origins is a great game. Assassin's Creed, the movie, is bad. Anyway, Tomb Raider. I was very pessimistic. I was very skeptical. I was like, oh man, here we go. It's not going to be that great. Blah blah blah. I was surprised. I was delightfully surprised. This is a good action movie. It moves at a brisk pace, doesn't overstay its welcome, and it's got a really, really good lead. Alicia Vikander is so good. Like, I could watch a whole movie about her not even raiding tombs, playing Lara Croft, and I thought she was just like she was spot on. She does a really good job of being relatable. She makes jokes every once in a while, so she's like a real person. She isn't just like this, I'm sexy and I'm gonna raid a tomb. It's like, no, she's like, she has to fight, and it's really cool to watch her character evolve throughout the course of the film. And after playing, the first game, well, the reboot of the game series, it was just nice because I was like, yeah, this is a lot like what I liked in this Tomb Raider game. It's like Uncharted, but more brutal, more just like devastating hits and kind of like sick and nasty death animations. But which they didn't have a ton of in this movie, don't worry. But yeah, do you have any other questions before we get into spoilers?
Yeah, my biggest question for you is, how does this set up future video game movies like Uncharted that we're getting someday? Do we have to worry about it treading too much of the same path? That was my biggest question for you.
Oh, like you think Uncharted is going to do the same thing?
What else could they do besides that kind of aesthetic of jumping from planes to stuff and
gotcha. Yeah, kind of like an Indiana Jones thing. Yeah,
that's Nathan Drake's thing. I mean,
Yeah, that's the thing. It's crazy to me that like Tomb Raider and Square Enix got to this before like Uncharted, because a long time ago, I think a lot of the times we think of Uncharted and we're like, oh, it's like a movie. It's basically just like a movie, but it's a game that I'm playing. And that the fact that Tomb Raider beat it to the punch is like an actual film. I think for Uncharted, we will probably get some similar things, but I don't know if they're going to try to go beat for beat, kind of like the first game. I think a lot of people think that first game is quote unquote like the weakest. And from what I remember like a news story that Tom Holland was going to be playing a young Nathan Drake. So I don't know if they're going to try to like, the first movie is going to be about his backstory, kind of like his origin story as a kid. And they're going to just have him like sign like a 20-year contract where he just grows up being Nathan Drake. I don't know if that.
I would love to see Tom Holland as.
I just don't. He plays, I think, a good young person, but I don't know if like he can age into that. Like
Yeah.
I just don't know. But yeah, I think what they'll have to do is
Tom Holland with like a beard.
Yeah, like a 5 o'clock shadow.
That's more of a Chris Evans thing.
Yeah, for sure. Nowadays, yeah. I think for Uncharted, though, what they do is they do planet hopping, which is the games do that a bit more. This first Tomb Raider reboot and this movie, for the most part, take place on just one island. So that's how you change it up, is like you have them go to different locales and you make it a little different that way, as opposed to being like, yep, go to island, figure out thing, movie's done. It's like, nope, go here, go here, go here, go here, and then, the finale. So I think that's what they'll probably do. Again, a little more Indiana Jones-esque, where they kind of planet hop a little bit. So that's what I would say we'll probably see for Uncharted whenever it shows up eventually. Tom Holland. I don't know. We'll see how that is. But yeah, all right. Well, if you're okay, Levi, I just want to make sure we're good to split. Are you going to get ruined on spoilers here, man? Are you going to be okay?
No, I'm okay.
Here we go. Okay, here we go.
Insert animation here.
Yes, there is an animation and a sound now because we are professionals. All right. I'll just give you just the blow by blow here. If you've seen Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, you have seen this plot. Basically, Lara has to go find her dad. Is he dead? Is he not? They're working together to figure out this ancient lost tomb, and it has even kind of similar traps in it that the Last Crusade has like a falling floor thing. It's got these things that roll down that could like cut you in half or mess you up, kind of, or smash you. And I was like, okay, yep, these are pretty much all the same. They even have a penitent man will pass moment, or no, not penitent man. That's the he has to leap of faith. She has to like walk across a ladder across like a big gap, and I was like, it's just the same. It's the same stuff. They didn't drink any out of a goblet though, so they didn't do the last part. But yeah, brutality. I want to talk about this. She lands in the beginning of the reboot of the game. She lands on like this piece of glass or something, this like steel that she has to like rip out of herself. They do a similar thing in this movie. She like falls out of these trees and gets really messed up, and she has to like rip this thing out of her, and it's really good. The first guy she kills is pretty emotional, like the game. She's like fighting this guy, and she has to like she smashes his face into some mud, and she's like holding him there, and she's like crying, and he's like, he's like struggling, and she's just like, I got it, like, kind of do this. It's like, and she kind of backs away from it. She's like, oh my god, like I killed this guy. And it's so cool, like, and they do the same thing like do in the game where she kills this guy, and then later on she's just shooting people with a bow and arrow, like, oh, it's nothing to me. But it was really cool to watch this character like come from her background, which was actually pretty interesting to see her in the real world. She was kind of like, she lives like she's scraping together a living. She's like a bike courier. Like, she doesn't want to accept her father's fortune because she's like, my father's not dead. I'm not going to believe it because once I sign that, he's dead. But I thought it was kind of cool to see her start there and then eventually kind of accept that and then become like the Croft she was born to be and go to this island. They kind of cut some of the side characters that were in the first game, but it's okay. They kind of whittled, trim the fat, as it were. They just had like the people they needed. But the cast was pretty good. I just think she was the best part of it. She was the epicenter. She was the focus like the entire time, which I think was really smart. And she is intelligent. She's tough. She's beautiful. She's got it all. It's kind of gave me a Gal Gadot vibe from Wonder Woman, where I was like, she's got it all going on. Like, she doesn't need a guy. And that was one of the best things. I was talking to somebody about this today, and they're like, as long as it doesn't have like romance, I'm good. This movie doesn't really have much like romance at all, which is crazy. Like, I was really impressed. Not that they needed that or that the other Tomb Raider game has a lot of that at all anyway, but the fact that they had this main female action star not have to be like, I have to save this guy that I love. It was more about her dad. Like, she cares about her dad and she wants to find her dad, who, again, we talk about, but he's on the island. He's alive. He's been alive there for a couple of years. Apparently the bad guys thought they'd killed him, but they didn't. So anyway, but she's trying to stop Trinity, this bad organization that is trying to get into the tomb of Himiko because she had like special powers, but special powers are actually like, she's a disease carrier, and if you touch her or are like grazed by her corpse, then you like get turned into a zombie, which is kind of strange. So it's like, I wasn't really expecting that, but it was like a little twist. Like, it's kind of magic, but it's a curse. I don't know. But they have like her use a pickaxe like she does in the game, which is really great. They have some pretty good moments. There's a lot of CGI. They kind of have to do it where it's like a crumbling tomb. Like, they can't be like, all right, Alicia, like, are you ready for this? Like, we only get one trach and you could die. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. It's a solid film, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. But yeah, Levi, do you have any questions about like what is in this? Is there anything specifically you wanted to talk about?
No, I mean, it looks pretty straightforward for the most part. It doesn't seem like they can shake things up too much. That would be crazy. So.
Yeah, but they did set it up, obviously, for other ones. There was like, I was happy because there was kind of like a twist later on that I knew. I was like, oh, is this going to happen? Then it did, and I'm like, all right, cool. But I was just really surprised. I thought Vikander did a great job. I'm excited to see her come back. I hope they do more of these because I think this would be a really cool franchise, because I look back at the Angelina Jolie ones. I haven't seen them in a long time, but those were, just so different and a little more corny, I think, than what this one was. It's so much more grounded and realistic. There wasn't too many things where it was like, oh, there's no possible way she could have done that. Like, there's a lot of times where like, wow, she's lucky, but there wasn't like, oh, that's impossible. So I love watching that because it's like, that's what the games are for the most part. But yeah, using her cunning and all of that. And I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. The sets were pretty good too. There's definitely budget behind this film. You could definitely tell that, which is nice, because sometimes you feel like they could kind of like, well, it's a video game movie, who cares? But they did put time into this movie. And she did a lot of her own stunts. I was watching some of the behind the scenes stuff. She's like pretty ripped, and I was watching her like do the wire work and all of that. I was like, wow, like I respect that a lot. I'm like, all right, get on you. Give me that Tom Cruise vibe. But yeah, I recommend you going to see it in theaters. Levi, I would say you could definitely go see this in theaters and you wouldn't feel like you're wasting your money at all. If you are an action hero fan, if you like the Tomb Raider video games, especially more so the reboot, not the really old ones, because there's not a lot of her using dual pistols and shooting people and backflipping away from T-Rex. It's not that at all. But yeah, I would say you should go check it out. Yeah. But it's probably one of the best video game movies I've ever seen, which it doesn't have a lot of competition. But still, I was pleasantly surprised. Like that's nice for me because usually I usually walk out of a movie like Black Panther. I wasn't surprised that it was great. Like, but with this movie, I was like, wow, that was actually way better than I thought. So the plot, yes, you've seen it before if you like Indiana Jones, especially the last
Was it like
one.
a Justice League surprise?
Yeah, Justice League surprised me because I was like, wow, this movie's like fun. Because I was like waiting for it to just be like everything's so hard, like like so sad. Yeah, but in this movie, I thought they could have done that here too, but they had just bits and pieces of humor. It wasn't throughout the entire thing; like it was still serious film. They had bits and pieces of it here and there that I thought were really well done, and she was pretty funny. I was like, she nailed it. I was really impressed. So, yeah, go check it out. Gets my seal of approval. So, Levi, are you gonna go see this? And are you gonna go? Have I inspired you to just run out and watch this movie immediately?
Yeah, maybe I'll go see it this weekend.
Yeah, if you have time.
I mentioned for a good movie to see. So.
Yeah. And yeah, I can't think. I think Warcraft is the last video game movie that I saw and I actually liked. And I would say this is. I don't know if I'd say it does things better than Warcraft. It does overall. It's a better picture, I think, than Warcraft is. So, just keep that in mind too. All right, I think that's enough spoiler talk for that movie. Yeah, we had enough there. If you have any other questions about it, guys, please let me know. And I want to know your reviews in the comments below if you've seen it or if you kind of want to see it. Like, are you interested at all? But now, because Joe's not here, Levi, you're going to have to do this. It's that time of the show that I like to call, that you like to call, that we like to call. What do we like to call it?
Time crunch? Time
No.
magic? Timekillers!
Yes, Timekillers. The games we play and the movies we've been watching, the TV shows we've been viewing. I've obviously just talked about Tomb Raider for a long time. The last thing I want to mention quick is that besides watching Naruto Shippuden, which I absolutely adore going back to, it's just so dang good. I love that Sasuke, even though he's nuts. I just like, I want his powers, man. They're so cool. Fire and lightning with the eyes. Oh, man. Mangekyo Sharingan. I watched Jumanji. I'm not going to spoil Jumanji. It was fine.
I watched it too.
It's fine, right? It's fine. It's okay.
It's okay. It's actually not as scary as we thought it was going to be.
I mean, yeah. I
can tell you multiple times Jimmy and I did some nib rudging. Rib nudging.
There you go.
We're being like, this looks horrible.
Yeah, like before every movie, we would see the Jumanji trailer and we're like, we
were just sick of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was surprised they didn't use "Welcome to the Jungle" until the very end credits. I thought for sure they were going to play that song like in the middle, be like "Welcome to the Jungle."
This is why I'm glad they pulled Infinity War trailers off of the movies right now.
Yeah, that's true. But it was cool. I actually liked the high schoolers a lot. I actually would watch a movie with them because I thought they were an interesting bunch. But I think that the actors, and Jack Black specifically, was the one that like stole the show for me. I was like, he did a very good job of playing a teenage girl being in a middle-aged sized man's body. Like I thought that was like pretty comical. So yeah. And one other thing, Karen Gillan, who I talked to you about, the redhead in this movie, plays Nebula in Guardians and Guardians 2. So
even watching it last night, I was like, I can't believe it.
Yep, it's true. She is my replacement for Black Widow. From now on, every time I see Black Widow, it's going to be her because in that movie, she's like the perfect Black Widow. I was like, I don't know what it is about her. I just like, she was a little more quiet. She wasn't like quippy. She was just like, I'm doing my thing. And I was like, I liked her a lot. She was cool. Ruby Roundhouse, man. Some of the CG is pretty rough. Like the animals don't look super good or anything. Not the best plot in the world. It's fine. I like some of the nods they have to the original film, but
if you don't go into it with high expectations, you'll have a fun time.
Yeah, watch it with people too, because like any comedy, if you watch it alone, like me, I'd kind of laugh I'd be like, haha, like. But if you watch it with other people, I think exponential increase there. But yeah, I watched Jumanji. Levi, you kill any time with anything else, pal?
We're watching all the Marvel films. Playing some Kirby, playing some Dragon Quest Builders on the Switch.
Wait, which Kirby?
Star Allies, baby.
Review when? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
2 out of 10. I'm just kidding. No, Kirby's fun. I mean, just a little mini review. Kirby's fun. Too much emphasis on the CPU in this game. They can do a lot of the work for you. Kind of takes a lot of the challenge out. Not that there was a lot of challenge in a Kirby game, but
it's 4-player, correct?
4-player, yep. Playing a lot of Mario Kart lately. It's fun.
Mario Kart 8?
Yep, with the kids playing the new Mario Kart.
Is it 8 Deluxe?
I don't know what it's called.
Okay, yeah, I
Switch,
obviously.
Mario Switch or something like that. Mario Kart Switch or something.
Yeah, which
I
I
forgot how
want
fun the
to.
Mario Kart is. Yeah.
Well, because we didn't really talk about this too much, but Super Smash Brothers, they got an announcement. Probably not going to be a port. I don't think they might be making a brand new Smash Bros. That's coming this year.
Yeah.
Do you?
People think that it's there. It's very big toss up right now. He might not want to do a full new game, but they might not give him a choice.
Yeah, apparently Sakurai is kind of like, I don't want to do. Like, please stop making me make games. It's like
I just imagine him chained up in an office somewhere. He's like, I don't want to do it anymore.
it's like Tetsuya Nomura, and they're like, all right, buddy, like you got work to do, and he's like, he's like, I can't do Final Fantasy 15 anymore, and they're like, get back in there. He's like, I don't Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, do you with the success of Mario Kart on the Switch, it wouldn't be a surprise though to see a port and then like to add a few characters, add some stages.
Mhm.
However, I think because we're seeing like potentially Breath of the Wild Link, and there's a really good chance that like Mario will have Cappy now. I think that means we're gonna get a brand new like Smash Brothers. So
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I mean, I just feel like it's going to borrow a lot from.
yes, and they always do. They do kind of, they just bring. I don't know if they bring like assets necessarily, but like with Smash, it's more like a balancing act, and you can kind of port at least the movesets.
Loved playing Cloud. I loved him. He was such a great addition. I really hope they bring him back. His moveset was fun. So
they only kind of do like a one-off. Like Snake, like was only in, was it Brawl?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we'll see Cloud. Maybe Goku. So okay, my question to you, Levi: if it isn't Cloud, who would you want to be? Like, who do you want them to bring in from any, even if it's not Nintendo?
Well, wait, they brought in Cloud because Nintendo has been affiliated with Square Enix before.
But they are bringing in, like, they brought Snake in, which is like a weird thing. Like, they could bring in almost anybody. One that I heard and I wanted to like flesh it out just a little bit was Master Chief. People were like, how could you do Master Chief? Master Chief, if you take away the guns, let's say he doesn't have guns, maybe he'll have his Magnum pistol. He could punch and kick like a beast because he's Spartan.
Yep.
Also, give him the plasma sword, and like now you got a character. Like that would be sick.
Grenades and Master Chief could work. Gears of War could work. He's a very melee guy too.
Oh God, Marcus Phoenix, dude. You kill, like, that would be incredible. I don't know if they do. Would he chainsaw Kirby? Like, that would be a great grab. He's just like,
there's no blood, but it would be.
Oh my gosh, and just be like, oh my gosh, Levi, you got my mind spinning. Like,
I'd like them to do like an anime character. Like, let's do like a Naruto. Let's do a Sasuke. Because they have moves that they could use. They have shurikens that they can use for their B moves. They have. Get inventive with it. I mean, and the Switch is so popular right now that there's no way you could fail making this Smash game because people are gonna love it. If it did well on the Wii U, it's gonna do hell of a very successful on the Switch.
Yeah, I think that it would be kind of funny because right now it seems like Sony is very like, I don't really want to play ball. Like you look at Microsoft, like we don't want to do the cross-play with like Fortnite and stuff. I would love it if Microsoft just really cozied up really close to Nintendo. And they did do Banjo-Kazooie. They had Banjo in there, and like Kazooie was the gun, and like Banjo's like punching stuff, and they're like, yeah, we're working together on this because we're like, hey, Sony, you know what? Forget you, man. We want to work with these guys.
Banjo-Kazooie should be in Smash.
Banjo-Kazooie should have been back in like freaking Melee or something, man. It makes me frustrated because it's a perfect character. Like I'm not even a huge fan of that franchise, and I'm like, come on, like give Donkey Kong a coconut gun for goodness sakes. It fires, it spurts. If it shoots, it's gonna hurt. It just makes me angry that Banjo isn't in there yet, but I would love to see that. But that Gears of War, man. So you start on the like, it's just a normal day, right? It's on Sarah, but this is one of the maps, and then like the emergence hole pops and you fall down into like, oh my gosh, man, that would be. Sorry, I'm like Marcus Phoenix is. I would lose my.
Jimmy's gonna become a game developer just to make this dream come true.
I would lose my mind if Marcus Phoenix was in Super Smash Bros. I would scream. I would be like. Like
they're like, okay, we're gonna release Naruto, Sasuke, Master Chief, Marcus Phoenix, and
if I could have if I could have Master Chief lock swords with Sasuke, I would lose my mind. I'd be like, I just might like blood would start coming out of my eyes like I'm using a matcha suit. Like I'd be like,
Would you buy a Switch if they announce it tomorrow, coming out in like May?
I mean, I'm buying a Switch because Pokemon, and we have to transfer my Zelda stuff. We gotta talk about that later. Because I was like,
calling it right now. The new Pokemon RPG character is going to be in Switch. It's going to be one of the main characters.
Oh, it's like, do you think they'll do a Pokemon trainer thing again, like with Charizard?
Like based on the one they're going to use for Switch. Yep.
I was trying to think of like, do you put Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, or Machampin as just a playable character by itself? Like, I would really personally like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, you could.
I can't think of. I would like Primate,
Blastoise or something too.
Ooh, Blastoise. Yeah, Blastoise. But he kind of falls into the Bowser camp.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of.
Oh, that's the skin. Sorry.
Who's the froggy? Who's the frog?
Oh, Greninja.
Wasn't a huge fan of Greninja. It was okay.
Yeah. I like it. I like the speed, but
yeah.
I don't like those newer gen Pokemon. That's the thing. Yeah. It's like I keep thinking I'd rather just have you go back to Gold and Silver or Blue and Red, please.
Because we missed out on a couple Pokemon, didn't we, for this Smash? It was.
Maybe we did, but it's been weird because they had like Pokken tournaments, so I think people were like, "Oh, we still have this," but we'll see Pikachu and probably Jigglypuff and stuff. But I just would love to see Blastoise would be cool, but like a Blastoise skin for Bowser somehow would be really cool. I don't know how you do the fire breath.
I am surprised that they released it for this year, or they said that it was going to be released.
They said it was going to be this year, so that means that I'm thinking at E3 they're going to do their video, their little not the conference, but their little presentation.
That makes me think it's going to be a port then.
Yeah, or maybe they've been working on it in secret, the whole time.
Yeah.
The thing is, if they do this, their campaigns for like their ad campaigns are usually insanely good, where they're like, hey, here's a brand new character with a brand new trailer just for that character. And you're like, wow, like that was crazy. Charizard got that trailer. So I'm not sure. Is there any other characters that you could think of, like Nintendo-wise? I was trying to think about
Nintendo-wise.
Who do you bring in? Do you bring in any of the Kongs? Do you bring in like King K. Rool? Do you bring in like
Nintendo-wise?
You bring in the swordsman from Skyward Sword from Zelda, like that bad guy. Another thing is you bring in the champions, by the way, from Breath of the Wild. Urbosa, I need to play as Urbosa. I need to play as that tall, lightning.
Goron would be great too.
What's her race again? The
Gerudo.
Gerudo, Goron. Rito.
But see, they have Ganondorf, and he's already a Gerudo. But
that's true. But
I agree, they could put these characters in. I want this to be the biggest roster. And
what are the fish people called?
Huh?
What are the fish people called again? I forget.
Oh, Zora.
Zora, thank you.
Yeah.
Zora Magdaros?
What if we got like a Stardew Valley kind of? We'll see that in a trophy or something.
They did Villager from Animal Crossing last time.
I was kind of a big fan of Villager. No,
I just don't like the jokey characters like that. And I felt like Game & Watch was kind of the same way. I was like, they're contenders, but I just I want DDD back. Kirby's pretty well represented. Maybe they'll add another Kirby character in the like Meta Knight and stuff they've done. I'd have to think on that.
We'll get our classics back for sure. I just want all the Pokemon in this time, not just. I mean, I want Pichu back. I want Little Link back. I want Ocarina Link. I want all the Links.
You want Pichu back?
Yeah, I love Pichu.
He does damage to himself.
I know. That's the best part. You can just kill yourself.
I love Toon Link. People thought maybe Toon Zelda from Wind Waker, maybe.
Oh, that'd be fun.
It'd be interesting. I'd be interested to see what they would do with that.
Options. I'm trying to think of anybody new for Nintendo. What have we gotten lately?
I hope they don't put the Broodals in from Mario. The white rabbits.
No, I don't think they will.
They might put them in as like a sub boss thing
or a trophy.
Yeah, that's true.
What about a Golden Sun character?
Oh my god! I know someone said Isaac, and I was like,
yeah, if we got Isaac, and then like maybe he can swap out with like Felix or something because they're both the same moveset.
I like the fighting in that game. I just hated the Psy energy stuff. I was like, oh god, it's like
sometimes
the end of.
I might buy go on eBay and just buy like a DS Lite. Or the Game Boy SP, and just for those off games.
They'll port them eventually, hopefully, to Switch because that'd be perfect for Switch.
Yeah. They were on the Wii U.
If they're on the Wii U, then they should. I don't know the Nintendo.
They were on the Nintendo
eShop.
Virtual console.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'd be cool. I know a lot of people said like from Super Mario RPG, is his name Gino? I think there's like a mage guy in there. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I think they need to, pull somebody out like that. The problem is we have like those Fire Emblem characters that I think kind of push the Golden Sun ones out. And it's like, no, please put some Golden Sun characters, and that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Like people, that's like a weird, like a franchise that has like cult following in Nintendo that they don't talk about much. It's like if they're bringing Xenoblade stuff in, like bring the Golden Sun stuff in.
Can you imagine like announcing a Golden Sun game for the Switch?
Oh, see, oh my god,
There's so much potential.
They made a third-person like free-roaming Golden Sun that went it like Dragon Quest. Like, oh my god, I'd be like,
which, by the way, we could get Dragon Quest character too.
Oh god, dude! If they put the hero from Dragon Quest in there, I would also lose my mind. I'd be like,
Side question: are we getting DQ11? Is it happening?
Yes. Eventually, it came out I think last July in Japan, and it's on its way here. Eventually, I thought this summer. Hopefully,
Dragon Quest Builders is coming up soon.
Dragon Quest Builders 2, man. Oh man, it's like I should get that and a Switch, and then we could play it together. Yeah. Anyway. There's a lot of potential there for Nintendo. They could do anything. I want to know what everybody else wants to see too. That's another cool one. Pause the video, go check, just be like, I want this character. Give me like a deep cut. I need something crazy. Slippy. Put Slippy in there just so I can just beat the tar out of him. Just be like, you suck so much. How did you get your pilot's license? Yeah, that's what I want to do. Man. Super Smash Brothers, man. I'm excited to see what they do with that. But it's always a fun time with Smash. The weird thing is I haven't really played a lot of Smash since Brawl. Like that was the last one. I know you had the one for Wii U, but I haven't really played a lot since since Brawl making my levels. Yeah. That was a fun time. So, all right, cool. That's enough of Time Killers because we're killing time with that. We're killing a lot of time there. But let's get into my personal favorite segment of the show: community feedback and questions. Community feedback and questions. It's the best.
Questions.
So I because we talked about this last week, video game movies that we want to see. I asked our lovely Legionnaires which ones they want to see. So from my dear buddy Corey Lang, my buddy, or Lang_Corey, he says BioShock in all caps. Couldn't agree more. That's a good one. Missile Mage, a man after my own heart, Witcher 3. Are you kidding me? Yes, please. Fragadin says Castlevania, to which Corey responded. He said, like, watch the Netflix series. If you haven't, it's quite good. But I think Sean, he's like, oh, Fragadin's like, yeah, I did and enjoyed it. Looking forward to season 2 or second season. Lil Red Rider, or Anna, she says, honestly, BioShock probably. That or Extermination. And she said Extermination was an old horror PlayStation 2 game. It used to freak her out a lot, which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah, cool. So Levi, do you have any is there any video game movies that you'd want to see? Are there any video games you'd love that you just want to see a movie of, by the way?
I'm still waiting for that Halo movie. I think that would be great. I mean, you have everything you need to make a good, video game movie off of that.
I remember like Steven Spielberg was working on a TV show or something. Wasn't there like a TV show with Locke and stuff?
Yeah, he was supposed to be doing like an actual movie, but it fell through. We already got like having children. Does it have to be live action? Is it live action or is it like a CGI?
I think live action is a little more meaningful, because it's like it forces like that makes it harder to pick. Like it kind of narrows the field. And you're like, oh, I gotta. But it's okay if you can't think of one. I mean, the Halo's a really good choice.
What if we got a Golden Sun?
Oh my god, that would be really cool.
We're getting Detective Pikachu, and that could be a disaster. But
most assuredly, with
that Danny DeVito voice.
Well, I think Ryan Reynolds is going to do it, and it's not going to be Danny DeVito, which I want it to be Danny DeVito because I think that's.
Have you seen the 3DS?
Yeah.
Pikachu talking on the 3DS?
Yeah,
it's Danny DeVito. Well, not Danny DeVito, but it sounds like Danny DeVito.
I want that to be a thing. I want Danny DeVito to do it because I think he would be perfect.
Hey guys, it's Pikachu.
Yeah, exactly. There's a murder over here. That's a horrible Danny DeVito impression, but I still did it. All right, Levi, you got a question for us, my friend?
Yeah. What?
You got a question? Do you have any questions from Twitter? If you want to reach us?
Should we do the question if you want to combine two?
Oh yeah, who is that from again?
From Missile Mage.
Oh yeah.
If you were to combine two franchises, what would you do?
If you bring two characters from any franchise.
Two characters, yep, from any franchise.
Do you have anything on this one? I have.
Yeah, I saw this video a long time ago, and it's on YouTube. You can find it somewhere. Link in description.
Nope.
Nope. Samus versus Master Chief, and it's a really cool video. Look it up.
Was it a death battle?
It was a death battle. Yeah, it was a fully animated fight. Like it's awesome. That would be such a cool game, like a fighter. If they
The
were to
two of
do
them
that.
would be
Yeah,
really cool.
we
Should
might
be like
see
the
it.
that'd be like the only like that's a power couple right there if they chose
Yeah,
to be, or just best buds. Like that'd be good.
yeah.
One that people have joked about recently because he's going to be in Soul Calibur 6, I think it is. Geralt of Rivia, but the chance to fight like Dante from Devil May Cry. I think Geralt and Dante would be such a fun pair because both seasoned monster hunters, white hair, kind of have an interesting outlook on life, and Geralt would definitely have some snark, but he'd be more of kind of the serious one, and Dante would be just so devil may care. And I just think it'd be such a fun pairing those two together. Just a movie, a TV show, anything with them just working together to hunt something would be so much fun because Geralt would have some cool moves, and Dante would be like, "Oh, that's actually pretty cool for like not a demon person," and like then Dante do something insane, and Geralt would be like, "I gotta watch out for this guy." Like he'd like be plotting a way to like make sure to kill him if he had to. Yeah, that would be sweet. Another one, not necessarily to fight. I'd like to see Darth Vader and Doctor Doom in something together. That was another death battle they did a long time ago. That was kind of an interesting one. How about another pairing I would love to see is I would love to watch just Superman and Captain America just hang out and talk like about the world. Like that would just be fun. I would think to just have them sit down. Like, oh, I want to see Henry Cavill and Chris Evans sit in a room and just talk, and I'll be like, that's it.
That's the dream.
That's, another one though. Maybe if you want to go back to Geralt, I'm looking at Viggo Mortensen up here. Aragorn and Geralt together. That'd be another fun pairing.
Yep.
Like that'd be a little more on the same level, like buddies. Oh, that'd be great. All right. Next question here. This one again comes in from Misselmaid. She sent some good ones last week that I wanted to talk about. But he said, with the Han Solo movie being made, what other side characters from film or any other form of entertainment would you like to see get their own story? #Critical Podcast. Levi, are there any side characters from film or anything else that you're like, man, you need an entire film dedicated to you?
What do you got?
What do I got
so far?
That's why I'm asking you.
Side characters? I would like to see a live action origin film based on Brock's life from Pokemon. With the kids and the daddy issues and like his rise to be a gym leader. Sure. Let's do it.
That is hilarious. Cool. You ever see the movie Sahara? You ever see the movie Sahara, Levi? Mm-hmm. You know that one with
Is that the one with Viggo Mortensen or is that Hidalgo?
That's Hidalgo. This is the one with Matthew McConaughey.
No.
He has a sidekick in there that's pretty funny. That'd be fun to see a whole movie of. Sean Connery from The Last Crusade. We were talking about it earlier, but from Indiana Jones. I want to see young Indy's dad doing stuff. Like that would be good to me, but you have to get Sean back, and Sean's never come back.
Oh, did he say he's not coming back?
Oh, he's been out of it since League of the Extraordinary Gentlemen, and I just don't think at this time.
What's his last movie he did?
Yeah, that's the last one.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. People kind of hate that movie. I kind of like it. It's not great, but it's fine.
I didn't realize he hasn't acted in anything since then. Wow.
I want to say Deathstroke, but he hasn't even been like a side character in a thing yet. It's just Deathstroke movie. And the Marvel movies, I feel like everybody who's like a main character could almost get like, I know people are saying Valkyrie needs her own movie. But yeah, I think that's pretty good for now. You know who I actually would really like to see, and he's kind of gotten one. I'd love to truly see a Gandalf the Grey film, like just Gandalf. Like out of all the movies, you could make one movie just for him, but I would love to see just Gandalf the Grey. Which, by the way, apparently it might take up to $500 million to make that Lord of the Rings series for Amazon, which is like
that's fine.
That's just a lot of money, so that means it's a big budget. Or maybe it's just like licensing and stuff. But great question. All right. Next one comes up. Levi, do you have another one for us here?
No, go ahead, James.
Okay. Next question it's from, where is it? Of course, I ask these out of order. Oh, yes, it's from Ryan. Our buddy Ryan, he says, or asks us this, with many remakes and remasters coming out for old games and all the pros and cons that come with them, which would you rather see? Also, is there any game you wish someone would remake/remaster? So, first one, which would you rather see? Would you rather see remakes or remasters, Levi? And by that, the remake is from the ground up, like you completely remake the game like Shadow of the Colossus, or remaster like for like the definitive edition for Tomb Raider or Devil May Cry or something like that. What would you rather see?
I'm a bigger fan of a remake. I know it's a lot more work, but the remake is nice because it's built from the ground up. I mean, we all saw when they remastered the first Halo. It still had that old engine problems, and it didn't fit well with the new graphics. It felt clunky and weird. We also saw that with Shadow of Colossus, the first remaster, not the one for PS4 or PS3. Um,
Yeah.
it feels a little clunky. Like, just remake it. If you're gonna do it right. Just like they, yeah.
Yep, I agree with you. I was gonna say I prefer the remakes as well because to me it's a more substantial, obviously, step, you know, and there's more to lose with a remake.
Yeah.
People be like, you lose what the game had before, but a remaster is just basically putting a coat of paint on something. And there's more to it than that. I don't want to say that people who do remasters, there's not. But to me, as the consumer, I'm like, okay, but what have you changed? What have you added? Remake is like, that is a labor of love. Like, you have to be like, we got to do this right. And Shadow of the Colossus, I think, is a stunning example of what you can do with a remake. So he asked us, is there any game that you wish they'd remake or remaster, Levi? Is there any one?
Yeah, I wish they would redo Golden Sun, honestly. We
Like
talked
remake?
about this. Yeah, remake it into like a Switch game. It'll live forever.
What if they remade base vanilla World of Warcraft?
They're doing it.
But I mean, like, remake it, like from like new assets and like everything, just like all of it's new.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, I would be okay with that. I mean, World of Warcraft's graphics have come a little bit, but they're still pretty much the same. But sure, yeah, take it.
I want a full remake of Darksiders 1 and 2. Yep, not just remasters. I like the remasters, but like, okay, the remaster of 1 is really good because it's locked at 60 frames and it's so good. But like, either remaster Darksiders 2 to be like that, or just fully remake it. That'd be great. But if you want to go way back, give me a remake of Diddy Kong Racing, baby. Oh, I know it'd be weird, but give it to me. That'd be so sick. Yeah, Diddy. Is there any other ones? I think that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, The Legend of Dragoon.
Feels so good. It hurts so good.
The Legend of Dragoon is an underrated classic game from PS1 era. If you don't know about it, it had groundbreaking storytelling, combat system. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The 4 discs worth of just like great story of dragoons and dragons and monsters and villains, and it was great.
The only reason it didn't take off is because it didn't have the words Final Fantasy in front of it, and it came out around that time, and it just got buried. And I actually have that on PS3, and I played through it a while. It was a few years ago that I was playing through some of it, but I thought about streaming that because people are like, hey, you should stream Legend of Dragoon. I'm like,
I just wish it wasn't so jaggedy. I mean, like it's just it's a little rough these days.
Yeah, full remake of Legend of Dragoon, or just a sequel.
Yeah.
That'd be so good. Our friend Luca, I think. Like Luchador, who did our overlay over on Twitch, which is great. He says, seeing people talk about Ni no Kuni 2 not being a super long game, this appeals to me. Thoughts on if RPGs should be a certain length, short or long? Just for clarification, Ni no Kuni 2, people are saying it's like 35 hours for the story. Levi, short or long RPGs? What do you prefer?
Medium.
Short or long?
I would, if I have to choose, I'd say long. Okay. Short makes you feel like you don't get enough hours worth, but I'm thinking of a game like, and I have the perfect example too. It was a very good game, but you ended up having to retread. Is that Bravely Default?
Maybe, yeah.
Yes, one of those games was excellent on the 3DS, but they made you keep retreading old ground and keep having to do things just to fill out the final, sections of the game. And it's like, don't do that. Like, just give me a full story all the way through.
Sure. Yeah. For me, I think of like the last big RPG I played besides, I guess you call Monster Hunter World an RPG, but was Persona 5, and that was like base. It was like 90 to 100 hours, like 100 hours. And that felt too long to me. I actually kind of wouldn't mind if it was shorter. Yeah, I know maybe some people don't feel like they're getting the money's worth, but I would almost rather at this point in my life have it just be more quality with less quantity, as opposed to the other way around. And not saying that Persona 5 is less quality, because I think it's quality throughout, but I don't, seeing a 35-hour game, that's actually fine to me. And it would actually make me probably more susceptible to a replay, because once you get like 40 to 50 hours for me, like after like a campaign, like with even Horizon, I was like, I don't want to go back and play through it again, like a new game plus. It's like, but like 30 hours, maybe. Yeah. So and that just means that the story's moving along. Like the stuff you're doing, you're not having to grind out too much, because a lot of these games, it's like, yeah, I spent 20 hours just fighting enemies, just like because I had to. So yeah, I think you make a really good point there, W. I hope I'm saying that right, but yeah, it should be a certain length. Should RPGs be a certain length? I think they should just be the length that the story needs to be told.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. Don't feel like you need to add too much. Don't cut out too much. But I think certain games just require more. Like the Final Fantasy seem to require longer stories, like bigger stories, because they're more like worldwide events. I don't know if Ni no Kuni 2 is a worldwide thing, or what if it's a smaller thing. I'm not sure. I think it looks bigger, but than the first one. But yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with having a shorter game. And I think the older we get and the more wizened I think a lot of video game aficionados become, they start to realize that maybe a shorter game isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like that might be a good thing. Yeah, it's a lot of money to buy games, but in some ways they're cheaper, than they've ever been. And 35 hours, that's like $2 an hour. Still like just about, tax and all that. So I don't think that's bad. Good question. Well, Levi, I think that's all we have time for today here. But if you ever have a question, a topic, or a little game you want to see us play here on the show, all you have to do is tweet the hashtag Critical Podcast. Yes,
tweet.
Yes, you can tweet at either of us. You can tweet at our official account, which is at @GoCritical, capital G, capital C, or you can tweet at me personally. I'm at JimmyGood013. If you want to tweet at Levi, you can tweet at.
And I'm at Levi Fletcher. Levi like the jeans, baby.
Exactly. And we alluded to it a little bit earlier here with W, and we talked a little bit about streaming, but we do stream here weekly on twitch.tv/critical reviews. You can stop by. I usually stream Tuesdays and Fridays, but it might be Mondays sometimes. So you got to keep checking in, and Levi streams at nights occasionally. So please stop on by, check out our Discord, and you can hang out with us and you'll know. We'll tweet it out. So don't you worry about that. I want to thank a few people. I want to thank This Is Zale for our beautiful intro and outro music. And I want to thank the one and only Yorin Evers, the guy who does pretty much all the art you see here on the show. If you want a commission from him, all you have to do is tweet at him. He's at Niraj28 or at Jade Circle Art over on Twitter. Just tell him Jimmy sent you. He's got a great Instagram too. You should just follow that, because you can just look at all this beautiful art. It's incredible. But if you want to support Yorin and you want to support us at the exact same time, check out patreon.com/critical reviews, where you can see how you can get some of that cool Yorin Evers avatar art for yourself that looks just like you, and you can support this show at the same time. We really do appreciate it. For the people who are subbing over on Twitch, the people who just sub over on YouTube, which is free, and the people who actually donate to us on Patreon every month, we really do appreciate it. We're coming up on 1 year, and if you're interested in supporting us, if you want to support us through the next year or two or whatever, throw us $1 or tell a friend about us. That could be huge. So please consider doing that. Everything helps. Even your likes and your retweets really help too. Like, we're trying to get our name out there a little bit more. So if you could just hit that retweet button or a like button, or leave us a good review on iTunes or whatever your podcasting of choice is, that really helps a ton. But I want to thank you, Levi, for being on the show. It was a true pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and until next week, which we shot a little bit earlier this week, you're probably seeing this on Sunday. Apologies, we usually come out on Friday, and then Saturday, Friday for our $5 and up patrons are conscripts, because we're in a legion here, and Saturday for everybody else. But this is going to be Sunday, but then next week, it'll be back to normal schedule. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Love and hugs to all of you, and just remember to adapt and overcome, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.